Dantics here. So the VIP and public demo is officially over. Done. Forever. What are my overall impressions and feelings from the time with the demo? What do I think about surrounding the hate, whether justified or not towards the game? And will I be playing the full version? This video will go through all of that. This video is a departure of what I normally do though, and really is just here to open some dialogue. But first, the competition to win 2 digital copies of Anthem is either finished or finishing soon, depending on when you watch this, so be sure to get in before it ends or enter the next. Links below on my Twitter. Honestly, I had an absolute blast playing the demo when we were playing hiccup free. A lot of people experience worse issues than what I had. I experienced a few sound cutouts, a few crashes, enemies despawning, and random frame drops. Frankly, the demo was a mess, and it really should have been called a beta. But is that a definitive answer to whether or not you should be interested? Well, never in my life, and I say this with full honesty, have I experienced developers being so open and honest about their work, even to the detriment of sales. They are constantly resetting expectations, making sure customers know exactly what they're getting. On Twitter, if someone asks about a feature that isn't in the game, there's a reply almost instantly from Mike Gamble, Ben Irving, Mark Dara, Andrew Johnson, Jonathan Warner, and more. These replies usually say exactly what to expect in the full game and what their plans are for the future. On their live streams, they've shown off the game even though it was not finished, so you know exactly what you're getting when you purchase. There is no tricking old Bioware fans. They know this will be a different experience, so they're trying to make that extremely clear. What does that do for sales? Well, it severely reduces them. What does it do for PR? Well, people will always find something to complain about, and even more so because the developers are putting ammo out there for them to load their guns with, be it PvP, microtransactions, or even sex scenes. It's generally not a good idea to let the public play a demo of your game for free these days. Demos were shown to reduce video game sales from way back in the early 2000s, which is why no one makes them anymore. Usually you have to buy the game to access the alpha. So why are Bioware trying so hard to be as transparent as possible? Well, they have a good product and they want to be given a fair chance. They have been under the microscope since Mass Effect 3, and EA have been under the microscope for quite a bit longer than that. With the whole Battlefield debacle and now the Fallout 76 mess, people are rightly quite a bit skeptical of promises. Sadly, what else can Bioware give you but promises and the chance to try it yourself? This is something completely new for them. Right now, we should be rewarding this behavior. Even if you hate EA and would never buy their products, don't you want other companies to see transparency being rewarded and do the same? If people continue to punish Bioware for presenting their necks to the guillotine, then no developer is going to make the same offer. At the very least, guys, simply move on to another game if you aren't interested. You aren't going to ever kill EA, but you will kill the potential transparency of other game publishers. That all being said, sadly, there are some issues. Many people experience them, and those people will take away negative impressions instead of the game's potential. We have promises from the highest level of Bioware that the full game has resolved those issues. I've personally played the full game, an older version than what we're getting at release, but I didn't experience the same issues. It was a blast for me, but you guys are listening to the promises of Bioware and to my limited experience. Can you trust these? That's for you to work out. Think about it logically though. Why would they plan to make Anthem a live service if they didn't intend to follow through? Why would they put so much work, 7 years, behind a game that could reap microtransactional revenue for a long time if they wanted to make a quick dollar? It's funny to say, but the fact that there are microtransactions for vanity items in the game should give you at least a little bit of peace of mind. It's financially in their best interest to keep the game running well, keep it updated, and keep the customer happy. Because why would you buy cool vanity items if no one is playing, and if the content has run dry, or if it keeps crashing? Look at Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda multiplayer. Those were serviced and updated for free for years. Anthem is much the same, except on a larger scale. They could afford to continually service the game because microtransactions kept dedicated staff on the payroll. Yes, I know EA executives get huge cash incentives, but I want you to convince any company to give their executives less money. If you can fix that part of capitalism, I'm completely on board. If the money dries up, so does their interest, and that's just reality. Maybe the course for you is to wait until the 22nd or later to pick it up after the reviews or after you're sure it's good to go. You have to expect early access won't be completely bug-free, and if that bothers you, don't feel bad about waiting. So Bioware hopes to keep the game going for years, but the biggest elephant in the room is, well, reputation. Bioware can't afford another massive PR failure. They've been bent over backwards and ravaged by consumers with their last few games on a major scale. For them to regain their status and therefore be able to sell their titles without boycotts and microscope scrutiny, they need to put out titles that appease the public. If you believe EA is a big evil corporation after your money, then you should know they need to get back your trust right now. They can't continue to put out games that have millions of people up in arms. You can see the comment sections of my Anthem videos for the lay of the land. Crusaders jumping from video to video just to call me a shill, or crapping on anyone that talks about Anthem. They're the majority even though they think they're the minority. No board of directors can let reputations like that stand for long, or they have to report to their shareholders. They need to take steps to regain trust. Right now, Bioware is doing that. But let's circle back a bit, just for a second. It's a full price game with microtransactions. Well, World of Warcraft released at full price and charged for every DLC. It also charges a monthly subscription. How did it get away with it? Well, the promise that the game was going to be continued to be serviced. It was a promise. That is a live service and no one complains about it. There are tons of games that are full priced and have microtransactions, but no one seems to care about those. Well, Anthem is a full price game with no subscriptions, and any playable content will be added in the game for free. The microtransactions are purely for vanity items. Items you can gain with in-game currency. So if you don't want to drop another cent, you don't have to. However, those wishing to support the game can. They will be contributing to keeping the servers up, to having a dedicated content team, to building a roadmap for the future. Now, obviously, a lot of microtransactions have been executed poorly, like what we saw in Star Wars Battlefront 2, and keeping developers on their toes when it comes to these practices is a good thing. But be reasonable. Don't attack those enjoying the game just because you want them to be joining your crusade, because you look unhinged and that won't turn anyone to your side. Don't write the game off just because you hear the word microtransaction. Be logical and reasonable with your arguments. So according to Games Radar, Anthem was almost made to be a free-to-play game, and in regards to the model, Ben Irving says, "If you go free to play, you still have to be a profitable business, or we can't continue to do an amazing live service for all our amazing players." So what would you be trading if you gave the game away for free? There's all that money that you have to make to be profitable, and so then you get into the territory of being less player generous. I think in the AAA space, people are more comfortable paying the entry fee and then having a great player generous model with no paid DLC and optional vanity items that you can earn in-game currency to buy anyway. And well, that makes sense. They've spent 7 years making this game. If they release it for free, they need to make a lot of transactional revenue to pay even just the staff cost over that time, let alone make more content. Expect that kind of game to be impossible to earn any cosmetics naturally in. Expect that powerful, free Javelin personalization to no longer be free. It'll be a case of paying for even the color red, for example. If you think $60 is too much for a game, you're deluding yourself. How much do you pay for a movie? Which provides you at least 2 hours of entertainment, where a game like this has a minimum of 20 hours of content. I'm guessing there, I've not experienced even a fraction of the storyline over the 8 hours I had to play the full game. If $60 hurts your bank account, you should not be buying games. Set yourself up financially with the extra time you have. I personally would rather this way, as long as they keep their promises and keep the system fair, as in affordable. If they don't, I'll be the first to call them on it. So what will we get from day one? Here we see Mike highlight exactly what we're getting from the full game's release. A full main story with amazing cutscenes and performances, 3 Fort Tarsis agents, each with their own full optional arc of missions. Some don't open up until after the main story. Free play full of world events and variants, in a world we can change at a moment's notice, more on that in a second. Fort Tarsis full of characters to talk to and make decisions with, continuing after the main story is done. 6 additional optional missions related to Critical Path, the demo showed 3, plus much more. There's a ton of content in Anthem, and that's all before the end game. At the end of the public demo, they showed off something else that should really excite you. a world event. There was like a firestorm in free play that would spawn ancient ash titans. This was Bioware's way of showing that every now and then there'll be events that they can put in the game that yield unique rewards or provide unique experiences. Think of the potential. Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving type events. These could yield unique vanity items when you complete them. Think Santa Claus-like vinyls. All this is possible, and the fact they're showing the functionality is there means they have planned for the future. It was also stated that a dedicated team is already working on post-launch content as of last week, potential new areas as well as more content. That means by the time we've gotten through what the main game has to offer, which seems like quite a bit, there will be new content on the way. What it comes down to is how much trust you'll be willing to give a company for $60, or if you're feeling savvy, for the cost of Origin's access, which you can cancel after a month if the game is not for you. I personally enjoy this kind of game. I love the Mass Effect multiplayer. To me, this is a co-op experience, a looter shooter with Iron Man-like exosuits that function in a 3D space. I enjoy the loot-driven experience. I enjoy the focus around skills, teamwork, and coordination. I love the beautiful world, the fantastic sound design, the relatable characters, the lore, and the potential that the story has. To me, this is a day one purchase because I can forgive the potential hiccups that could be there if promises are broken. So should you spend your money? Well, that depends. Did you try the demo? If you did you get to play a good, honest section of it with your friends? Did you enjoy it? If so, pick it up for sure. No questions asked. If no, the game is not for you. Simple. Walk away and wait for another game. Maybe take a look at Division 2, Rage, or Cyberpunk to name a few. If you didn't get to play a good, honest section or play it at all, ask yourself if it's a game for you. Perhaps wait a bit, keep your eye on it and see how you feel. There isn't that long until release, and there will be more information dropping between now and then, so keep your eyes peeled to this channel. I appreciate all the support you give. Even just dropping a like and a comment helps immeasurably. It won't be long until we can all play together. So until next time, guys.